And welcome back to my channel. I apologize for the weird whatever going on. Once again, still no tripod, working on the pop socket, but what I was originally using, my niece actually took upstairs and now it's like gone off into the void. So I am using something else. We will see how that goes. It's not very stable, but we are just gonna be going in with a get ready with me. And today I'm gonna be talking about, in this get ready with me, we're gonna be talking about brands behaving badly, like addressing some like really old stale tea drama, but some things I've sort of wanted to talk and address with you guys. Some of you guys have like asked me my opinion. I'm like, I'm not sure about making a whole video, so we're just kind of gonna go on into it today. Bringing you guys in closer. So sort of first things first, just to get this particular person slash brand out of the way, let us discuss some ever so lovely Kat Von D. She was under a lot of fire in 2018. I feel like 2018 was sort of the fall of Kat Von D from grace and her untouchable sort of status. She just wasn't making a lot of friends from the consumers and the whatevers, and a lot of stuff about her really came to light. Anti-Semitism, racism, that whole thing. But really what kicked off everybody being all like, yeah, about her was the whole posting. She got married, she was pregnant, and posting that she and her husband were not planning on vaccinating their child when the child was born. Now this created a lot of hue and cry amongst people, her fans, non-her fans, just people on a whole. And I can totally understand, but sort of kind of what my opinion here with this a little bit is kind of less on just the whole anti-vax point of view and more straight up just on the fact that I feel like what bothered me the most with this scenario, like I was saying, you know, less on the whole just not wanting to vaccinate her kid. That's its own mess. But the thing that didn't sit well the most with me was the fact that I felt like you have an unborn child, a child who obviously not born, and even if it was, you know, born just a child, you, aka Kat Von D, are an adult. You can make your own opinions and do whatever because you are an adult, your brain is formed, and, you know, you're able to make your own choices. Her unborn child, on the other hand, is unable to do that. And so I really have issue and take object to her using her child as a means to further her own personal agenda. Like, no matter what age a child is, so long as they are a child, they are not a tool for you to use for your own ideologies. Like, does anyone else feel me on that? Like the whole moral standpoint of, you know, she's an adult, she can do whatever she wants, and she has a very high, I mean, just even without her makeup brand, her being, you know, the tattoo artist and the public figure that she is, she has a lot of spotlight on her, and to then bring her child into the whole scenario just feels a wee bit unkosher to me. Like, it really just, that was the thing that upset me, when it's like, well, I can't, you know, my opinion alone isn't enough, but I have to bring my child in here to make this freaking statement and then get all offended at people who have different opinions than me. It's like, you're not you don't seem like a very responsible adult right now. And I feel like after this, she's sort of fallen off the radar in terms of like makeup releases. Her Lolita palette didn't really do horrendously well. Then she released those like stick cream eyeshadows. I haven't seen anyone review, haul, or talk about those, and maybe I'm just living under a rock. So that was basically the only thing I wanted to address with that, other than the fact that I feel like a lot of famous people in the beauty community, whatever you want to say, don't hold themselves accountable. I mean, more than just, you know, her kind of recklessness in putting things out there in like the whole, all right, so she brought this out and then people were like, hey, whatever, and then she just basically told everybody to F off. And it's like, when you are that person in a position of, you know, famousness, as it were, you should be, or at least I feel, should be required to explain your actions when questioned, rather than just going off and being like, well, you don't agree with me, and so it's like, you've put this out there, okay, well then why don't you just give us a nice mature reason as to why, you know, you're doing this. Your fans want to know, they would like, you know, an explanation, and she never gave it. And that's not okay for anyone to do, least of all someone who is in such a high esteem, who has a brand. Because one of y'all, I don't know if you're a subscriber or not, but someone commented, I can't remember if it was on the review video or another video, and they stated that the problem that they had with it was that Kat Von D, she's the face of her company, but she also has employees, you know, and when she says something that is damaging or controversial or hurts her brand financially or any other way, she is hurting those people that she employs. She is endangering their livelihoods, their lives, their income, their families. And I think that that's such an excellent point, because when it comes to brands like Kat Von D and Jeffree Star and Too Faced, we often see the faces of the brand. You know, we see Kat Von D, we see Jeffree Star, we see Jared Blandino, all of that. And we kind of forget that these companies are networks of other people. You know, yeah, they're the face, they're making all the boku bucks, but what about the people in the labs, in the packaging, in the shipping, in the warehouses? You know, what about those people? And yes, we do vote with our wallets, but it really kind of, for me, put things into a little different of a perspective when you think about, yeah, I'm not supporting Kat Von D or Jeffree Star or whatever, but I'm also taking away the livelihood of those beneath her. But that's honestly all I just want to say about her. She really has not impressed me of late with makeup or PR or anything that she's been doing. And I feel like it is going to take a lot. It's going to take some kind of act of miracle for her to get in good standings with the community again. Then let's talk just a little bit about someone else who is a very outspoken person. Y'all can probably guess who we're going to talk about, Mr. Star, who is, I feel, a hideously notorious brand owner, influencer who is known for popping off. And sometimes he pops off for legit reasons. I feel like because there is so much clout, drama, whatever with his name, some people do use his name as a way to get attention, but oftentimes he pops off for just absolutely no reason, like recently dealing with that whole review of the Bad Baby's Copycat Beauty. A good example is a long-time supporter of his, Porcelain, who has a channel here on YouTube. She's done videos on his products, extensive ones, and she's been doing them for a long time. And she commented, hey, it's not a very good product, and then he went off and was like, oh, because you reviewed it, I shouldn't review it for my fans. And she was like, no, I was just giving you my opinions with the product and letting you know what I thought. Just like, geez, dude, not everything is a personal attack, for someone who's so like chill and happy and pleased with where they are in life. He's awfully defensive. And I will admit, with some of Jeffrey's popping off is a little bit merited, because oftentimes I feel like he personally gets, like, people don't necessarily come for his brand on a whole, rather they come for him personally, and that's not right. You need to be able to separate the two from each other. You have Jeffrey and you have his brand, even though oftentimes it does seem like they are one and the same. Then, kind of going off Jeffrey, you guys would have seen I did a quote-unquote review of his Morphe brushes collaboration. I have learned a lot about natural hair bristle brushes since then, so thank you all who were kind enough to nicely tell me how bristle natural hair brushes should be cared for, because like I said, I am not a brush aficionado. I usually use synthetic, so knowing how a natural hair brush is supposed to be, thank you so much. But that being said, I have also heard from a fair amount of people who have natural hair brushes, and their brushes do not perform like this after one wash. So I'm starting to think that it is less about the brushes, like the natural hair of them, and more about the quality control that Morphe basically doesn't have. Morphe tends to super hype up their releases. They're just kind of like, oh my goodness, this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread. They've got a lot of high grossing influencers on their payroll to hype things up. And then when they get called out on something or something happens, they're like, well, we're not really going to address it. We're just going to kind of throw maybe just a little bit of water on the fire so that it doesn't go completely bust. Cue in point, the whole, what's his name? James Charles, don't come for me because I forgot your name. The whole, his palette debacle thing with ones arriving like broken. People were not happy about that. I mean, I wouldn't be happy about that. Receiving broken male makeup is just, oh, the headache you get from that is beyond anything. And then people were like, hey, and they were like, Morphe was all like, well, we can't give you a, replacement palette because this thing is sold out, which it is constantly sold out. It is going to be restocking like tomorrow as of making this video. Let me know if you guys want me to review it, because I'm thinking about reviewing it and then washing my hands of Morphe. But anyway, people were receiving broken palettes and they were like, hey, what's up? And Morphe was all like, well, we can't give you a new palette, so we'll issue you like a 10% refund. This one girl got like $7 back, and it is a $39 palette. I'm just like, what is that all about? No, they received a broken product. They should receive a full blinking refund, not partial. It's broken. And in talking about my Jeffree Star, the Get Ready With Me, where I talked about some of the drama with his mystery boxes, one of you all who had her own business was talking about, you have got to package these things like it's going to be put through World War III. And a lot of people were taking shots and pictures and things and being all like, well, it wasn't really, you know, packaged and protected well. I'm sure any of us who've ordered from Sephora or Ulta have had that thing where we order one thing and we get a box this big with like half a piece of tissue wrapped in there. And so when it is clearly not packaged super well by the company, it's like, well, I mean, who do you have to blame? Yourselves. And it is just poor, abysmal, terrible customer service to then proceed to give your paying customer I think one of the ladies that got that like a really, really partial refund, and they're like, oh, and feel free to order the palette, you know, again when it restocks. It's just like, well, I ordered the palette once, it arrived broken, and you're giving me completely terrible customer service. What makes you think I wanna buy this thing again off your site? And I just feel like, I mean, Morphe is a brand that I have like, you hear things about it, you know, influencers be talking it up, and you're like, all right, I guess I'll try it, and then you try it, and it's just, oh my goodness, I have not been impressed with the majority of products I have got from them. You guys would have heard about those brushes I got through Octoly. Now, what's funny about this look right here is I was going for something blue, but I totally forgot the pink and blue make purple. But there is just such a high level of unprofessionalism with them. I mean, why are brands still like... why are people still touting this stuff? Like, there are so many other smaller brands that have superior quality, superior products, whatever, that should be getting this. You know, we've got Juvia's Place, you know, I know ColourPop is really whatever, and yet people are still shilling this stuff to us, and, you know, we always just like, why? Well, because they're really good to their influencers, you know, money. But I have such a hard time putting my money towards this company that isn't willing to deal with their customers in a professional manner. Like, y'all keep saying you the bomb, but I don't see it. And some people have said about that Morphe and Jeffree Star thing, they were all like, well, he was gonna make brushes. Why is one, you know, company going to another company to make brushes? And people were speculating that he already had a contract with them and that he couldn't, you know, get out of it. But even that, even if it was a thing where he like couldn't back out, he certainly shilled and hyped that thing up. But a lot of people said that the pink bristled brushes were like his contribution, like his own whatever, and then the normal natural hair ones were just repackaged, re-promoted brushes that they already had in their, you know, in their collections. And they were just like, let's just repackage these bad boys, let's slap Jeffree's name on it and call it a day. And that's what they did. And people bought them, and people got burned because Morphe tends to just not have consistent quality. They'll come out with things like the Jaclyn Hill palette. People went wild and crazy for that. Or they'll come out with the James Charles palette, which people are still going crazy for and is constantly being sold out. Like, if they were someone who had consistent quality all around, all the time, I could probably give them a little bit of slack, but because they're so hit and miss, it's like, no, I'm good. And then the fact that they, I mean, just the terrible customer service is just kind of the popping on that cake. All right, let me stop talking about Morphe. I'm over here and I'm just ranting in circles. One thing I wanted to kind of touch on is the whole concept of inclusivity. Now, I know on my channel, one of my videos, one of you all did say that you didn't mind a brand that kind of markets itself towards one demographic. Like, I know that Juvia's Place tends to cater towards deeper skin tones because, let's be honest, there is a hole in the market for that. But y'all, something that Juvia's Place also does is they are planning on releasing a foundation range, and they're not just releasing dark shades. They've teased and they've talked about, you know, we've seen pictures, they've talked about the formula and the shade range. They are including colors for all y'all. And that's because I feel like Juvia's Place has a very good idea and knowledge of not only what's missing in the market, but also leading by example and kind of showing that, hey, we may be a brand, we are a Black-owned brand, and we do cater towards and have a lot of products that are really stinking good for those of the deeper, darker complexions. But we understand that it's important to provide our products and to provide makeup for everyone. Makeup is something that should not have to be non-inclusive. And I'm talking about not just like shade range, I'm talking shade range, I'm talking skin type, I'm talking price point and budget. It is something that should be accessible to everyone. And I'm really not a fan of anyone, especially brands that tend to cater toward that middle melanin, as it were. Those ones who just, they don't seem to get it. You've got Tarte, who is notorious for being like, well, we've got 50 shades of beige and 2.5 shades of deep. And in 2019, when makeup really has sort of become less of the rich white woman's demographic, we've got guys, we've got gals, we've got everything in between rocking makeup from all walks of life that you would think we would have learned by now that we need more than just one line. We need to be willing to get over ourselves and move forward in the 21st century. And it really is something that makes me, I'm very passionate about it. I come from a alternative background, how I dress, how I do my makeup. And within the alternative background, it's kind of an outlet for people who aren't the norm to express themselves and find people who are like-minded. And within the alternative background, there is a lot of elitism. It's like, especially in like the goth community, where it's like, if you're not goth 24/7, or if you're not like this kind of dress goth or have this kind of whatever, and in the Lolita community, where it's like, if you're not wearing $300, $400, $500, $600 angelic pretty dresses, you're not Lolita. And I see a lot of that same attitude in the makeup community, where it's like, if you're not this type of whatever and you're not this demographic, then you don't deserve to wear makeup. And that is just not okay on so many levels. Everyone deserves representation. Everyone deserves to feel like they are accepted and loved for for who they are. They shouldn't be accepted or loved after they've had to change for one reason or another. We need to realize that it doesn't have to do with color, sexual orientation, gender orientation, monetary demographic. It has to do with the fact that we are all people and we are all deserving of worth and representation. I'm sorry, that may have gone off and a little bit heated there at the end. I'm so done with every single little thing becoming this drama. I'm like, y'all, it's makeup. It's something that we put on as a extension of ourselves, self-expression. Why y'all gotta be making it so complicated? I'm gonna leave it at that. I would love to hear your guys' opinions and everything on this, what you think about what I've said, what you think about the brands, the people. I've heard a lot of how you all feel about Jeffree Star and Kat Von D, so just have a nice civil conversation down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!